This week, parashot Acharei Mot and Kedoshim, these two parashot are together. If you notice, at the end of parashot Acharei Mot, Torah talks about those women that you cannot have a relationship with. All of the adultery and all of the intimacy between a man and a woman will talk over there. And even the male, the animals, Torah goes through all of the detailed points of this type of relationship and talks about it. Then the parashah finishes, we start parashah of Kedoshim. Kedoshim Tihu, Torah says you should be Kadosh. And Rashi says, by that said, that Ben Israel, called assembly of Ben Israel. Why is the assembly? Because why? Because because majority of Torah is carried on this parashah. Parashah is a very important parashah. This parashah, skeleton of Torah depends on this parashah. Therefore, was said, Adat Ben Israel. Therefore, Torah says, Kedoshim Tihu. Rashi says, Kedoshim Tihu means you should publish from Arayot. Ramban says, Kedoshim Tihu means be moderated in life. Don't overdo things. Don't indulge yourself, even things that's mutar. And Torah says, person has to be afraid of father and mother, and all of the concept of Kedoshim. Torah goes, don't lie. Torah says, don't do wrong thing. Don't take revenge. Don't bear a grudge. And like your friend. And Torah goes, and at the end of the parashat Kedoshim, Torah goes back to the relationship and intimacy. And Torah again talks about all of the intimacy and relationship that the person should not have. Now, in Torah, is repeated 2 times. Now, why is it 2 times? One at the end of the parashat Acharei Mot, and one at the end of the parashat Kedoshim, separated from each other. In other words, the root of the Torah is en onshin elokim masirin. Torah doesn't give a punishment as long as he didn't tell you, don't do it. First masirin, he warned you not to do the punishment. And that's a very important point in chinuch and education, especially training children. As long as you didn't give a direct and clear message to your child that this is the wrong thing to do, you're not allowed to punish him. Punishing us. In leadership also, you have to give a clear and direct message that this should not be done. Then you could give punishment. Without that, there is no punishment. Therefore, Torah, parashot, very parashah Acharei Mot, Torah didn't give punishment. It says, don't do these things. And then it goes through Kedoshim. At the end of the Kedoshim, it says the punishment for every avera that was done, every wrong intimacy. Over there says the punishment. Very good. Now we understood. But the only question is, why did Torah put all of the parashah of Kedoshim in between? Why do you need all of the Sefer of Kedoshim in between? Usually in Torah, the way that works is, Torah says, don't do, and then gives the punishment. Here, Torah says, don't do at the end of Parashat Acharei Mot. Then it goes through Kedoshim, and all of the parashah of Kedoshim, then it gives the punishment. Now, why all of this Sefer of Kedoshim, the parashah of Kedoshim, is in between? Don't do the warning and the punishment. Now, here we come out with one of the very important yesodot in Torah. What is punishment for? What is punishment? The Gemara in Makot says, if the Beit Din kills 2 people in 70 years, that Beit Din is called murderer, because they are killing, katlanit, murderer. Now, why? There is a mitzvah in Torah to kill, to destroy. And you have to eradicate evil among yourselves. Why Torah calls this Beit Din, blames the Beit Din? Because here we understand something very important about punishment. Punishment is not to be given. Punishment is for prevention. We give punishment to prevent people from doing wrong things. Therefore, we have to create education and the atmosphere in a way that people should not do things. If a child comes to the father and says, Abba, give me a smack, I want to do this. You failed in chinuch. It's not the point that smack me, I will do whatever that I want to do. You have to understand, create some type of punishment that through the punishment, the person would not do it, would not want to do it, would be educated. Therefore, Beit Din has to create such education, such an environment. that people should not want to do. Therefore, punishment is to prevention. Now, Torah talks about adultery and wrong relationship. Torah says don't do. No, we want to give punishment of prevention. But Torah is telling us all of the Sefer Kedoshim we have to understand for prevention. For prevention of this type of things, adultery and the connection and intimacy, wrong intimacy, you need Sefer Kedoshim. You need to know that you have to keep yourself kadosh. You need to know that you have to be an honest person. You need to know you have to give kavod to your father and mother. You have to give Shabbat. You have to stay away from Avodah Torah. You should not lie. You have to have self-dignity. If a person doesn't have self-dignity and he doesn't go through all of the parashot of Kedoshim, then it will be impossible for him because he feels a void. He feels empty inside. Then he would be attracted toward all of these things. In a way, a person wants to hold himself. Torah put parashat Kedoshim in between to make us understand that, if you lie, you lost your self-dignity. You made yourself vulnerable for this type of averot. If you don't keep your word, if you take revenge, if you have to have self-dignity to love everybody. If you hate other people, if you don't keep the mitzvot, the dignity of the mitzvot that the parashah talks about, all of these things creates a self-dignity, creates a skeleton in a person that the person would stay away from adultery and all these type of things. Because most of the times when a person would be attracted toward things or when they feel empty, when they feel pressure, when they don't have self-dignity. Somebody who has a self-dignity, he sees himself above these things. Somebody doesn't have self-dignity, he's under pressure and there are a lot of things and he loses himself, then he would be much more attracted toward these things. The Torah is telling us, teaching us, the best way to prevent these things is to have self-dignity, to have self-respect, to respect other people, not to lie, not to give the wages of somebody in proper time. All of the things that Torah talks in the three parashot to make us, to give us that skeleton, that to make a backbone for ourselves. To just take the punishment here, it doesn't work. That's what, because it's such a, such a yetzer hara and such a desire, like Hazal said. Hazal said that the arayot is very chamur. There's such a desire, such attraction, that the only way the person could do it to have self-dignity, to build up himself more and more. Yes, saying good morning to other people, making other people feel good, and doing the Torah mitzvah, not to lie, and to have the dignity, to be honest. All of these things are there to prevent the person to stay away from this type of things. In other words, just with one thing, it doesn't work to stop it. Stopping, we need all of the parashah of Kedoshim.